Hey, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever platform you're watching this from. My name is Solomon, and I am a Linux engineer, and I am excited because um, I think this is the first time I felt so happy about finally doing this thing that I'm about to start doing. I've only ever talked about this. People who know me have heard this over and over again about me potentially doing like a tech content online. I might do a little bit of Windows stuff. I'm gonna be heavy on Linux. I'm also gonna be doing some cloud stuff. I'm gonna show you guys like how you could set up your cloud environment and things like that. I am also going to be you know showing you guys some of the problems that you can encounter at work, or some problems that I have encountered and how I've been able to navigate and solve them. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you enjoy it as well. So first things first, let's get the environment set up. Like I was saying, right? We're only using AWS as the platform. So the lab environment where I'm gonna set up like deploy EC2 instances or virtual machines that I'm gonna connect to and do some of the work that I want to do on. So here we have a little search bar, search icon over here. So I'm just gonna type in EC2. So you see virtual servers in the cloud, EC2. So I'm going to select that. And to tell you the truth, I don't really care like what region. I'm just going to go by the default region here. I don't really mind. I'm just going to go with Ohio US East 2 and EC2. I'm going to select that. Alright, then I'm going to go to instances. And then I'm going to launch an instance. So like I said, today I'm just going to be setting up the lab environment, and the next videos to come we're going to actually do some hands-on. So what I'm going to be doing is, first thing that I'm going to deploy is I'm going to deploy an Ubuntu virtual machine, right? So I'm going to select this. First I'm going to call this I'm going to call it test. I'm going to call it test test server 1. I'm just going to call it test server 1. And then application OS. So the OS image or Amazon Machine image here is going to be like the operating system you want. You could choose, it could be a Mac OS, it could be a Linux Ubuntu or Red Hat, or it could be a Windows Microsoft, right? So in here, if you come under this Amazon Machine image right here, AMI, if you click here, you're going to see, again, remember this is a 6-month free account. You're going to see things that you could use which are free, which is going to be a free tier eligible, right? Ubuntu server. Ubuntu server 24 right here, which is a Ubuntu server 24. This is the latest Ubuntu image, by the way, LTS image, and this is free tier eligible. So we can use this, or we can use this, we can use this, we can use anything that says free. If you're not using anything that says free, be careful because you might get charged. Remember, you have your card information, so make sure that you're within the free tier limit. So I'm gonna go with the default one, and then after that I'm gonna scroll down. So I've selected my image and free tier, instance type, T3 micro. Again, you can click on this drop down and see the various ones that are free tier eligible and stuff. But here I'm just going with the recommended one. Here if you go with this, you're gonna have 2 VCP, which is not a lot. You're just gonna have 1 gigabit of memory. This is the specs for the computer, right? And yeah, it's not a lot, but it gets the job done. And then here we're going to create a key pair. So think of this is a password, not even think of. So this is a password. This is what is going to help you log into, connect remotely into your virtual machine, right? So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to create a key pair. It's going to be a .pem. So I'm going to create it, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to say test server 1, test server 1 key. Yeah, I just want to call it this way because it matches the name of my server. That way I don't get confused, right? Test server 1 key, and then I'm going to create my key pair. So notice when I do when I clicked on create the key pair, it went ahead and downloaded this .pem. It gave it an extension, right? Test server 1 key .pem. So it's a PEM file. And then next thing, you could do like some of your network settings. This is, like, again, I said, this is not like an AWS lesson, but I'm just gonna, over the course of time, I'm gonna go into some of these things just so you can understand, like, what I'm doing here. So this is the networking settings, right? Okay, now you're gonna create your server, but if you do not set up your networking, you cannot even log into that server. You cannot remote into it. You cannot work on it. You cannot deploy applications. You cannot do anything, right? So under our network settings, there are some key things that we're gonna just allow. For example, this is an Ubuntu server. The only way you connect to an Ubuntu server is through SSH. So I'm gonna allow SSH, and if you like, you can allow this. This is not really matter for now, but I'm just gonna allow this HTTP protocol as well. And everything here, I'm gonna leave it as it is, and yeah, and that's about it. And then I can launch my instance. So right now my instance is being launched. It takes just a few minutes to get you going. Alright, so now if we go back to instances, earlier, remember we saw here no instance earlier. So the instance is actually being created right now. So we're just going to be patient. We'll keep refreshing until we're going to have our instance show up here. Okay, good. This is it. I just needed to be patient. Alright, perfect. So now we have our test server. You see, status check, it's still initializing. So the server build is not 100% complete yet. We have it here. We have the name of our server, test server. You can modify the name of your test server as well, of your server. And then we have an instance ID. We have the instance state, right? So this is how you know if your instance is running, terminated, it's powered off, or it's online. Right now it says running, so our instance is on and running. Status check, still initializing. And then, it's giving it the public DNS. It's giving it the public IPv4. And it's giving it, you see, and then it has like all these different bunch of fields. Like, and everything has a meaning, does a specific something, but we're not gonna go too deep into some of these things. So first thing, I'm gonna select my test server, and then notice when I select my test server, it gives me a public IPv4 address, right? So I can copy my public, because the way you connect to a server, you connect via SSH and you use the public IPv4 address. So I'm gonna copy this IPv4 address, and then again, Linux. This is a Linux server. Linux uses something, it uses a protocol called SSH, right? That way you could provide you like remote access into a remote server. So what that means is you're gonna require something called a SSH client, and we have a bunch of them, right? We have things like PuTTY, we have things like MobileXtem, and me personally, I use MobileXtem. You see, I already have it downloaded, but if you do not have it, it's easy. You can easily go on the internet and you can search for MobileXtem. It's very easy. This is it. You can download it. You can use it. It's very easy to use. So this is how I'm gonna connect to it. So earlier, I copied my public IPv4 address 3.16.109.175, right? So next thing I'm going to do is I am going to come in here into my MobileXtem. I'm going to launch that application. Okay, I'm gonna expand that. Then I'm gonna go to new session, SSH. I'm gonna paste in my public IPv4 address that I copied. I'm gonna specify my username. Right now, I don't know my username for that user, so but you could get it from AWS, right? All you have to do is you come here and go to connect SSH client instance using the public DNS. So I'm gonna try this first. I'm gonna paste this information in here. Then I'm gonna go into advanced SSH, use private key. Remember we created a password earlier, the .pem file. And I'm just gonna go to my downloads and I'm gonna look for test server key.pem. I'm gonna open that. This is my password. I'm gonna click OK. And if everything checks out, it should log me into my server. It seems this is the first time we connect to the server. Accept. Yep, I'm gonna accept. Alright, server refused our key. So something is wrong. Because why can I not connect, right? So I need to go back in here and check my networking. So I'm gonna go back to instances. I'm gonna go into security. Then I'm gonna go into my inbound rules. Because like inbound rules, these are rules that define like traffic that are gonna get into your server, right? And then we have outbound rules that define how traffic is gonna get outside of your server. So now if we all right, let's check security groups, inbound rules. All right, let me go back to security groups again. This is inbound rules. Okay, edit inbound rules. Perfect. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so I'm just gonna add another rule, right? I'm just gonna add. I know we already have an SSH rule, but I'm not sure why it's not working. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another rule here. I'm gonna call it SSH. The protocol is gonna be TCP. Port is 80 and everything. Custom anywhere IPv4. So I'm normally this is not a good thing to do, but this is just a for practice reasons. So I'm just gonna like allow SSH from any IPv4. So I'm just saying that hey, traffic coming from anywhere, as long as it's an IPv4 address, you can connect to my server. But again, for you to connect to my server, you're gonna need my private key, right? So I'm gonna put this here, and I'm gonna save this rule. There was an error modifying the security group inbound rules. Alright, I'm gonna go back. SSH this to be anywhere. Oh, you see, this is the problem here. Alright, let me just delete this. This is custom IPv4 anywhere. I'm gonna save it. You have not made any changes. Alright, let's try this again. Refuse the key. Alright, if it refuses the key, then most likely it's rejecting edit session, it's rejecting my username. I'm gonna try EC2-user. Alright, advanced settings. Yep, okay. Okay, let me see something. It also might just be that we need to change the key. Home mode extend. Let me see. LS. Okay, I'm gonna move my key in here and check for the permissions, right? So In fact, I can just even do cd desktop ls cd downloads. Do I have downloads in here? No, I don't. Alright, I'm just gonna do cd back to go back to mobile xm. Mobile xm is in home solo, right? So what I'm gonna do is I will move my file. I'm just gonna copy this guy. Home solo, where is that? Wow, this is not going as smooth as I expected. Let's do cd yeah, let me do cd. Let me do cd into desktop, and then instead I will move this guy to my desktop, right? I'm just gonna paste it here, and then now that it's here, test server, I'm gonna do an ls again, and where's that file? Test server something. Okay, this is it. So now if I do it ls-l long listing, I want to see the permission of that file, because that might just be the reason why it's denying the key. So we have key.pem, so it has read write execute, but this file is only supposed to have a permission of read write. So right now I'm going to change the permission. I'm going to do change mode 400, and I'm going to say test.pem. now if I do call my command, let's see what we have. Okay, it only has read only now. So you see, as compared to we only have one arrow here, as compared to up here when we had RWX. These are called permissions in Linux, right? So now that we have that, I'm going to try again to authenticate into my server, right? But this time I'm going to make use of a different key. So I'm going to edit the session, and then when I come in here, I'm going to go to my desktop instead. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to use test server, this one, open, and then I'm going to try again to authenticate. Alright, there we go, just like that, we're logged into our server. So that was a permission issue. So this is where we're going to be working from, and now that we've successfully logged into the server, you can see this here, this is the private IP of the server, and we can double check 172 sub 172 is 104. We can go on here and we can confirm that we're logged into that server. So again, it has a, see, this is it, this is the private IPv4. This is the public. We use the public to authenticate or to SSH, and then now we have the private IP in here, which is 172.3.145.104, and this is what we're logged into. And if we do host name, what is the name of our server? Okay, we've not given the name of our server yet, so it's just showing us the IP. But you see, this is the server we're successfully logged into. And now this is the end of this lab environment setup. So over the next few weeks, expect to see more content and, like, you know, some things that you could do with this server. What a server really is. You know, a lot of people talk about servers, but you don't really know what a server is or what a server can do. You know, a lot of applications run on servers. A lot of people don't even know that. And stay tuned. I'm gonna have some exciting stuff coming up. I work in this field, and I am excited to share with you guys some of the knowledge I've acquired over the years, and, you know, some things that you could do, how to sharpen your skills, and yeah, this is gonna be a fun journey. So I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, stay tuned and see you guys in the next video. Bye.